Okay, this experience happened on June 28th. And another thing, like if you have anxiety, or of course if you're really angry, the mean ones can come. The mean aliens, you know, demons, whatever you want to call them. But two, you know, it's not just anger, it's also, I noticed, if you're kind of like, not really hardcore anxiety, but if you like keep like worrying about something. Because, well see, like my cat, I let my cat outside at about 8:30 the night before, and she didn't come back till 6 o'clock in the morning. So I went ahead and went to bed, and I just kept, you know, falling asleep and then waking up, you know, an hour or two later. And then I kept running outside, and I'll be like, Tora, Tora. So I did that like 3 or 4 times, you know. So then I kept going back to bed. She finally came back at 6 o'clock in the morning. But I noticed if you kind of have anxiety like that, the mean ones can get to you, as well as if you're angry or whatever. Cause see, I've had that happen before, where I was kind of sick. You know, with my pituitary condition, like I'm okay if I don't do something to disturb it, but if I do something stupid to disturb it, I'll be like sick, you know, like sick for many, many months or whatever until it stabilizes again. And so then sometimes it screws up my sleep, so I'll be like up and down, you know, waking up every hour or two. And I notice the bad ones will kind of get to me when I'm like that as well. And of course, yeah, you know, if I'm kind of sick like that or whatever, then, you know, you know, I will have some anxiety. So if you have anxiety, the bad reptilians can kind of get to you, as well as if you're really, really angry. But, yeah, the only thing that fucked up my pituitary gland was doing really stupid fucking shit, like that fucking acupuncture, and putting fucking vinegar in my ear, because there's direct fucking nerves that, you know, lead to the fucking pituitary gland, and it affects your whole fucking brain, and then in return affects your whole fucking body, you know what I'm saying? Okay, but anyway, I'm good now, so fuck whoever keeps fucking me up. Well, the vinegar I did on my own, but I should have never listened to my mom go to that stupid dumb fuck doctor. Yeah, acupuncture is a bunch of bullshit. Big fucking scam. I can't find one freaking video on YouTube where somebody's like, oh, I had acupuncture and I'm so good now. I'm so healthy. Like, go look it up. Not one freaking video. And it like fucked me up for a whole year. It gave me hypoglycemia for a whole year. I mean, hypoglycemia is way worse than having fucking 500 diabetic sugar. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so anyway, and doing stupid shit like taking fucking Nascent iodine. If you already have some kind of fucked up thyroid, pituitary gland, what's the other thing? Well, you know, whatever's connected. I forgot the other thing. Thyroid, pituitary, thyroid, what's the other thing that's connected? Oh, adrenals. I mean, if you have some kind of fucked up thyroid, fucked up adrenals, you know, fucked up pituitary gland, you can't do stupid shit like be taking a bunch of fucking iodine or anything that's gonna affect any of that crap, because it's just gonna make you worse. And like those stupid, they have all this like cow pituitary gland tissue, thyroid gland tissue from like cows and pigs, like in pill form. I'm not about to take any of that shit, because that shit is just gonna make people a million times worse. Some people it might not, but me, it'll just make worse. So the only thing I gotta do is not do stupid shit to disrupt it, number one. And I just gotta eat, like, you know, every 6 hours. 7 hours is kind of pushing it, but I can go 7 or 8, but that's kind of pushing it. I need to eat like every 6 hours. So, and I only eat 3 times a day. But sometimes 4, but just as long as I eat, you know, like 3 times a day, I'm pretty good. But yeah, I'm pretty good now. But yeah, I don't know. My pituitary gland decided to fuck up starting at the age of 27, 28. That's when it kind of started to screw up, and then somehow a tumor formed. So the tumor was taken off. But still, I mean, it didn't. I can't go out into the heat. You know what I'm saying? I can't eat sugar. I mean, still, it didn't like fucking cure me just because they took the tumor off. It got rid of, like, you know, 50% of my symptoms, but I'm still 50% fucked up, you know, instead of 100% fucked up. So anyway, I mean, I'm still a million times better, so why wouldn't I mean, if I'm sitting there having a lot of symptoms and I have a fucking tumor, of course I'm going to want to find the best doctor in the world to get the thing, you know, cut the fuck out, you know, which I did. Okay, so anyway, but yeah, so I'm good now. Okay, so this experience, like I say, it was one of those, not hardcore anxiety, but you know what I'm saying, anxiety kind of situations. And I was asking for an experience, you know. I was like, hey, you know, you're going to come give me an experience, you know, Joel or whatever. Joel's been really inactive lately. Except he gave me some good sex about two and a half weeks ago. But he still was kind of been inactive before that. He's kind of being quiet right now. But so I was asking for an experience on the 28th or whatever. And or I guess the morning of the the evening of the 27th, and then I got this experience on the 28th. And so a mean reptilian answered my call because I was asking for, you know, out-of-body experience, lucid dream, virtual reality experience. Oh, they know what I mean. Okay, so a mean one got to my my dream state, or a mean one abducted me, basically. Not physically, but so anyway, this is how it went down. So I do I've been going to the damn like vet office a lot lately, and now I just realized my turtle Scooter, no wonder he bit me the other night. He has a little abscess on his freaking hand, right there by his long little claw. He's got a little abscess. So, you know, it probably is kind of sore, maybe. That's probably why he bit me the other night. He bit me on the thumb, but it wasn't a real hard bite. But it was a definite bite. But I know he could have bit me harder if he wanted to. So I'm probably just going to just watch it for a couple weeks just to make sure it doesn't get bigger. Maybe it'll go away on its own. I don't know. I heard that they can maybe drain the abscess, and they don't really know what causes them, but they could be caused by vitamin A deficiency. So I don't know. I'll probably take him to the vet in a couple weeks. He'll probably be okay for a couple weeks. And I'll just kind of look at it. Maybe it'll go away on its own. I don't know, but it looks like an abscess. But it's not on his head or face. It's right there on his little foot, his front foot, his little hand or whatever, by his little claw, at the corner of his claw. So anyway, I've been going to the damn vet office left and right because Charlie got a respiratory infection. I think he got it, I think, when he was hibernating, when it got like -10 and -8 degree wind chill outside. Because that's pretty cold. A lot of turtles probably got sick in the wild. So anyway, today I have to go again because he's supposed to get one more antibiotic shot. So I'm going to go at 5 o'clock to the same, vet office. So the alien copied off of that. So basically, here's how it started. Okay, so no, this was like lucid dreamy, but it was also, I also was, I was out of body basically. It was still an out of body experience, except it was more under lucid dreamy state, and it was also, 35% virtual reality. Okay, so anyway, the alien, the reptilian, places me in the vet office. This exact same vet office that I had been going to, 8 times already. And, oh my God, of course the occupancy is probably like, 10 people. A lot of times they'll have occupancy signs posted. I don't remember seeing a sign there, but it's probably like 10 people. But under this experience, oh my God, it was really crowded. There was probably at least 35 people, standing around. And anyway, I took my cat, Bobby, to the vet office. This is all under the experience. And in real life, I had previously taken Bobby to the vet office. And, because he has hyperthyroid, but, so I took Bobby, so under this experience, this is how it started. I was holding Bobby in the pet taxi, and my grandma was sitting there in a chair, and my mom was also standing around, and like I say, with the 35 other people standing around. It was very, very, very crowded. And under this experience, I was like, wow, I don't smell that nasty odor. Like when I go in there, in real life, it just smells totally disgusting of herbicides and pesticides, because that's what they use for the flea dip. That's what I'm smelling, is that flea dip, because they probably have a huge bath back there, and it's just constant chemical bath. And so one time I went in there and it wasn't so bad though, but I normally put my mask on, so a couple masks. So anyway, so in this experience, I was like, wow, I don't smell, it just smelled very mild, it didn't have that hard, because aliens, they could have produced that smell if they wanted to, but he didn't. So, and that was all I had, all those thoughts, under this experience. Okay, well, anyway, I stood there. As I was standing there, my grandma was sitting there in a chair, and I started rubbing her, like, on the head. And I was like, I rubbed her down the back, and she was pretty bony, because, before she died, she got pretty, or, she had been pretty skinny, for a while or whatever. And, so, I remember feeling, her back, and it was kind of bony, and I was, like, rubbing her on the head. And I was standing there, I never sat down, but I was standing there holding the pet taxi, and Bobby was in the pet taxi. It was a pretty big pet taxi, and that was about the same pet taxi that I took to the vet office in real life. And anyway, my grandma, it's so funny. They keep putting my grandma in my experiences, and it's so hilarious. I mean, it's just 100% her, but it's really not her. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how they do it, but. And my grandma, she was like, like she was kind of giggling, like, oh, Shayna, like giggle, giggle, giggle. And it was just funny, because, because it's kind of like I was like kind of not really pestering her, but just trying to be friendly or whatever. And, but my grandma was doing that, like kind of like laughing, and it was just kind of hilarious. Okay, so anyway, okay, after that, okay, I was looking at the counter, where the ladies sit behind there and where you got to pay or whatever. They sit down on their computers or whatever. I was looking, at the front where the counter is, where they sit behind the counter. And I was looking like on the counter, basically, straight ahead after I started rubbing my grandma down the back and rubbing her on the head. Okay, so then I saw this big, huge, like, cobweb. Like, it was this long cobweb, and I was sitting there staring at it, and I was like, okay, is that like is that a real cobweb or some kind of makeshift cobweb or whatever? Then I saw this huge ass spider, like as big as, big, almost as big as, like a, a tarantula, except it wasn't. It was about as big as round as that, but not like a hairy spider. But anyway, I hate spiders. The aliens will put snakes, spiders, alligators, and all of that in people's scenarios. Dinosaurs, crap like that in their scenarios a lot of times, and roaches. They will put roaches in people's scenarios too. They do that to me a lot. Okay, so anyway, or weird kind of bugs as well. But so anyway, I was just like, I kept thinking, is that like their little pet spider, you know, that they have just for display, like their little pet spider, and it was just kind of crawling back and forth, and it wasn't contained in any kind of a cage or anything. I mean, it was just one big cobweb that was just like, well, I don't know what it was holding on to, you know. I mean, I didn't see it actually being attached to anything, but it was just one big cobweb, long ways, like, 4 feet long, 1.5 feet tall, and it was just right over the counter right there, where you pay your money. And there was a spider just walking back and forth. Well, come to find out, it was kind of like the vet office's pet, except it just happened to be a pet spider instead of a cat sitting there. Well, see, the aliens copied off of that because, like, over 30 years ago, when I would go to the vet over there on the other part of town, I would go in there, and he would have, the vet, he's dead now, but the vet would have a cat. He had 2 or 3 cats that actually lived at the vet office, and this beautiful cat would just be sitting there, on the counter while you would pay your money or whatever. So the alien, I think, copied that from my brain. Instead, he made it a pet spider that the vet office had. Yeah, it was like a pet spider. It was really cool. Instead of like a pet cat that the vet office had. And the spider, he just lived there, you know what I mean? But it was huge, and it was like, creepy, because I don't like spiders at all. I try not to kill them. I try just to throw them outside, though. Okay, so anyway, so after that, but anyway, like I said, I mean, the whole vet office, it was just cramped and full. I mean, and the whole vet office is pretty damn small, or at least up in, where you pay and everything. They only have, like, 2 chairs on one side and, like, 2 on the, they only have, like, 4 or 5 chairs. So 35 people, standing around in the front of that vet office is pretty dang crowded. And so anyway, this whole experience, it was really crowded, full of people. So anyway, so then after I started doing that with my grandma, and my mom was standing around too. After I did that with my grandma, and after I looked at the spider, I had the pet taxi in my hand, and my cat was in the pet taxi, Bobby. And I started to proceed to walk, straight ahead along the wall, and I was trying to like not touch anybody because it was just so crowded. So I was kind of like trying to dodge people because they were all just standing there. So then I was trying to dodge people as I was walking through all the people, since it was pretty cramped. Okay, so then, because I was proceeding to walk out the door with my mom. So then I got to the front door, and as I walked straight ahead, past the counter and past the pet spider that they had, and there was this girl standing there, and she looked about 11 or 12. She had short brown hair. And the aliens copied that from my brain because in that show, Once Upon a Time, there's this girl, and they make her, I don't know, they make her look really young. She's like a teacher, but she has a short brown hair. And so anyway, the aliens copied that. It was kind of obvious. Except in this, they copied her look or whatever. Except in this experience, the girl, she was only like probably 10 or 11 years old. And anyway, so she was holding an umbrella with 2 little spiky, pointy, sharp prongs at the end of the umbrella. And so she was standing there, and I came face to face with her. And as I tried to open the door, because there was tons and tons of people walking, or behind me and just crowding me, and so I was face to face with her, and she, I somehow, as I opened the door, she didn't accidentally. I hit the right side of my temple up next to her umbrella. And I could feel the pain and everything. It was total virtual reality. I could feel the pain. And the right side of my temple as I accidentally hit my right side of my head against the pointy parts of the umbrella. Like right here. And so then, and I was just kind of like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was trying to get the umbrella away from her. And as I was trying to open the door and my mom was trying to come with me out the door while I had the pet taxi in my hand and everything, she proceeded to jam it harder into the right side of my temple. She jammed it harder in. I could feel the sharp pain and everything. And she went, I could feel the pain and everything. And she went about, oh my God, like a fourth of an inch or a half inch inside my whole brain and whatever, my head, at the right side of my temple. She kept jamming it in harder and harder. And I was just like, that's when I got really, really, really mean and mad. And I took that bitch and I just fucking shoved her up against the fucking wall. Because I knew that she was trying to freaking kill me and she did it on purpose. So anyway, I took her ass and just fucking rammed her up against the freaking wall to where it almost seemed like she became a pancake. And so then, but like I say, this part was virtual reality because I could feel the pain as she started to jam it harder and harder and harder in my right side of my temple, and I could feel it totally penetrating, almost like a fourth of an inch or half inch inside my freaking brain and my temple, the right side of my head. So then, like I say, I got really, really mad and mean and violent because I was trying to it was self-defense, basically. Totally self-defense. Okay, so then, as I shoved her ass, as I literally impaled her into the freaking wall, me and my mom walked out the door. And blood, this was all virtual reality. Blood started running down my face and running down my nose. So basically I was having a bloody nose from the blood running down from my temple down my nose. And I was like, shit, man, I'm bleeding, And I could taste the blood, because it tastes like iron. I tasted the blood and everything. And my mom was like, my mom acted like she wasn't real concerned. My mom, she just kind of said, well, do you think you need to go to the emergency room? And I hate going to freaking mainstream doctors or emergency rooms or anything like that. I hate it. And so anyway, I was just thinking crap, I hate going to those places. But I can't remember if I told her, oh yeah, I need to go. But anyway, I had all those thoughts, I don't want to go. But she was asking me, do you think you need to go to the emergency room or whatever? But I was bleeding bad, down my nose and everything. And in real life, I had a bloody nose before, back when I was 10 years old or whatever. But I haven't had very many of them. But yeah, that little fucking punk bitch, she literally was ramming it in my brain on purpose. The two little, really, really sharp edges of the umbrella. In real life, umbrellas only have one, but in this experience, there were two of them. And that's when I just beat that bitch up. But even though she was only 10 or 11 years old, she acted like she was 20. And so anyway, all that part was freaking 100% virtual reality. Yeah, it was a mean reptilian that got to my dream state because, the harmless ones wouldn't do something like that. They wouldn't create a scenario like that. But yeah, it was kind of weird and bad. But anyway, all of that part was total virtual reality because I could taste the blood, I could smell the blood, and it was just running all down my nose and shit from my brain, from the right side of my temple. Because she freaking pummeled two spiky things right into my brain right there. Okay, so basically, that was the end of the experience. But yeah, so basically, as she was trying to, she was jamming the two sharp things inside my brain. I was just trying to defend myself. So that's when I literally shoved her so hard into that damn wall. It's like she almost went through the wall. It seemed like she became a pancake. But anyway, the funny thing is, as me and my mom were walking out the door, I looked back, and she was just standing there like she looked like she was okay. That was the funny part. Because the aliens, they could have made her look really sickly, or they could have made her look like, oh, she's collapsing to the ground and she's dying. They could have made her like that if he wanted to. But yeah, and I looked back, and she was just standing there like nothing ever happened. And I'm thinking, stupid bitch, you know? And I'm sitting there fucking bleeding like crazy. So anyway, you know, David Icke, he says that you can put like a blank piece of paper in front of these reptilians, and they don't know, like they don't have any creative imagination, and that they don't know what to do with it. But if you put a lot of things on the paper, like an umbrella, a cat, then they can just kind of manipulate things. And that may be true to a certain degree, but my reptilians, because that's probably why they have to like read your brain, and they take all these little bits and pieces, and they manipulate all these bits and pieces and stuff. They go by whatever's already in your brain. But sometimes they put their own unique things in my experiences, where there's no way they could have came up with that from reading my brain alone. Like a talking cat and talking turtles that sound like little 5 and 6 year old little girls and boys talking. These turtles that they did, and that one experience I had, my pet turtles were talking like they were little 5 and 6 year old boys and girls. I've never seen anything like that on movies or TV or anything, so they couldn't have gotten that from my brain. So in a way, he could be right to a certain degree, but they're still very, very creative. These aliens are very, very creative because they put unique touches a lot in my experiences. I mean, just kind of obvious. You know, they're not totally, not creative. You know what I mean? They're totally creative. But yeah, so if you have a little bit of anxiety and you're having a hard time sleeping, and you're sleeping like every 2 hours, and you're waking up every 2 hours, yeah, the mean aliens tend to be attracted to kind of like worrisome anxiety type of moods. If you're worried about something, you know. But yep, that was my experience. And you know, as far as I remember, when I was in the experience, I was like, okay, this experience, this happens a lot. Like, I was thinking, this experience isn't going to be good enough to talk about. And even when I woke up, I was thinking, okay, I had no intention of talking about it. And then many hours later, I'm like, you know, what the hell? That's a significant experience. You know, I need to talk about it. You know. But anyway, the aliens, they duplicated the exact vet office that I go to, you know, the lobby. And of course, they duplicated my grandma and my mom. And the blood and everything, because like I say, I have had a bloody nose before, so they just went from my brain from when I had a bloody nose back when I was 10 years old, and they replicated that in this experience. But yeah, I mean, I must have shoved that bitch I shoved her right through the fucking wall. And like I say, even though she was 10 or 11 years old, she acted like she was 20. It's kind of like maybe the reptilian was really that girl. You know, maybe the reptilian was just posing as that little 10, 11-year-old harmless little bitch girl. But it was really the reptilian, you know? That was posing as her. That's possible too. But anyway, my grandma was in it, and they're always putting my grandma, you know, in my experiences. And it's, 100% her. But anyway, so like, let's see, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, it's funny too how sometimes they'll put positive, sweet little things, you know, and then they'll put some freaking negative stuff too. You know, because that was kind of positive, my grandma, and I was like touching her on the head and rubbing her on the head. You know, that was positive, and then he goes and rams some fucking 2 little sharp knife prongy things through my brain and temple, that was negative, you know? Well, I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything, but I remembered it 100%. And I keep telling them that too. I'm like, you know, if you're going to come give me an experience, you better make me remember everything 100%. And I thought that was kind of interesting because after I woke up and everything, I'm like, man, I remember that experience 100%. Even though I kept thinking, well, that's not good enough to talk about. And I was even thinking that under the experience as well. And then, you know, many hours later after the experience, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to talk about it. And then, number two, I kept thinking, wow, it's kind of cool how I did actually remember every single part. Because sometimes, lately I've been, you know, because sometimes they'll give me crappy ones. And, you know, I know I'm forgetting a lot of pieces. But most of the time it's not like that. But they'll get better and better. They'll get back in the groove of things and give me better experiences. But yeah, I remembered 100% of this whole freaking experience. And like I say, I keep telling them that too. Don't make me forget, you know, 20%. And make it orderly from beginning to end or whatever. Where I can remember it beginning, middle, and end. You know? Well, thanks for listening.